Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third place decider map for the Esea Mountain Dew League Season 31 for Europe. I am Darth Mike, hopping over the pond for the EU cast today, and I'm joined by Dean. How you doing, man?
I am doing very good, man. We've seen both of these teams playing yesterday. I think, to say the least, I wasn't too impressed with Spirit. Movistar Riders, they showed a little bit more, but I think this is going to be an interesting matchup because both of these teams had a lot of mistakes yesterday that do need to be fixed if they want to have a chance of qualifying.
So it is a really interesting map draw. We were talking about a little bit before. You were educating me on the history on these maps, saying that both sides have pretty strong nukes, though Spirit historically has struggled a little bit. They showed good form yesterday. This time it's going to be Mixwell starting the action off. Tip-tap, tipping away with that USP. Mopaz, though, elsewhere has been knocked down quite low, so the early damage favors Team Spirit as they just start to take a little bit of control and space here towards the outside yard.
Yeah, and it seems like they're willing to give it up, not really looking to actually try and cross over. Only having that one flash, of course, it would be a little bit of a gamble. No smoke would be able to go down. But plenty of time, of course, actually left on that clock. So beginning to regroup towards the inner area now. Are they going to look to try and focus on towards A or potentially towards ramp? Of course, they did actually dink Mopo's up and maybe unaware that he's actually residing on that A bomb site.
Nice shot early from Death, and there is a two-man setup here in the ramp room, but it's going to be a massacre. Now trying to swing from hell. Alex just has to fade off of it. They're getting into a tough situation. There's going to be the take in towards lower. There's one player in by the decon room to try and do some damage, but he's immediately decapitated by a quick shot from Coldy. Instead, as the bomb site fallen, and despite a smoke and a flash and a kit to try and make this retake happen, Mopaz is a wisp away from death, and Alex doesn't have armor behind this, so this duel is going to be difficult. Alex needs to start hitting the heads, and he'll do exactly that, to be fair. Takes the first as the bomb does go down, but he's stuck behind a choke point. He's got to get out. Nice swing from Alex. He's doing it all. Hasn't been touched yet either. And despite the lack of health, Mopaz is going to chime in with one of his own. It's all just Coldy now, and as the bomb smoke goes down, I think it's probably still a little bit exposed. They're going to go ahead and hop on the defuse, and it's up to Coldy to try and deny this. He finds the first. He doesn't realize the defuse is coming in, though, and so Alex will chime in with the third. Very nicely done from the duo from Movistar to get back through, to get the defuse, and to steal away a pistol that looked like it was all but lost.
Yeah, what a spectacular retake there from Alex with those 3 frags, of course. The initial one on towards the player who was above on the rafters was just so massive because it allowed for Mopos to actually push down from ramp as well. And of course, that very quick second swing on towards the player who planted the bomb. And from that point forward, once the smoke went down, it was super difficult for Team Spirit to keep themselves in that round. But let's see. In this one, not really going to be going for that full investment, just pulling out 4 deagles, keeping Sotvik towards that Glock, and just trying to give themselves a chance to at least get a couple of frags. Unfortunately, though, they do end up losing one player early on.
This is tough. You go for the pop towards vent, but then there's already a player up on hut ready to shut it down, so there's no path down towards lower that way. You don't have the utility to get down towards outside, especially with an AUG watching down the angle from Alex. This should be just very much locked out without any real possibility of getting through. They're going to try and work some magic with the deagles, maybe rip some heads, find something here. And a minute 5 on the clock, they do have room to work with. They don't have the weaponry. They don't have the utility. It's really going to be up to Movistar to make some sort of error to allow them down.
Yeah, this man here, though, Idis Balance on that Eagle, he's a player that I think Movistar Riders definitely do need to be cautious of. Yesterday, he was kind of the only positive that we've seen from Team Spirit. He was able to consistently pick up those opening frags. I mean, he did fall off a little bit on the second map, but even then, he was one of the players that was still having the most impact. So if we can see that from him today on the op, if we can see him just stepping up in general, and if he can be giant by the likes of Sundai Young, and of course Coldy as well is also a very capable fragger. Pretty much everyone is over on that Team Spirit side. And someone who really struggled yesterday that I don't want to see that from again is Chopper. I believe on the first map at one point was sitting on maybe 0 frags and 10 deaths for quite a while. He was around that area.
So now we got the full bonus round mentality here. 3 SMGs saved through. They really didn't get any pressure on from the Team Spirit side, so they'll just take that advantage and run with it. But this is going to be the round. Team Spirit wants to start to get some action on their T side of Nuke. Notoriously a difficult side to really get much from. They've got to do it here. They've got the advantage. They've got the rifles. Pulling back some of these SMGs. But as of yet, they haven't really been able to find any cracks in the defense from the Movistar Riders. Looking for those headshots and just no heads available. So they've once again done this timid sort of outer take. We're seeing this quite a bit where they'll move up towards red box. They'll sort of clear out the space, but they don't seem to want to commit towards going down secret or really commit to any of these fights. This time they are bunching all 5 here, so the smokes are going to come down late. 55 seconds on the clock. They're now going to start to make their way down the secret steps. And there shouldn't be a gap in those smokes. So on they charge. Now control towards lower. It's going to be an adjustment for the Movistar Riders as Mixwell makes his way down to reinforce.
That's one thing, though, of course, for Movistar Riders right now, with the fact that they do have quite a few SMGs in play, they would probably actually prefer to be given that close range combat down on B, or at least in the initial kind of secret area. Problem is now, Team Spirit have been able to advance quite far forward without really being fought up against, as you said, though. Mixwell, he's in a pretty decent position here as a player, also fighting towards Dark, but Chopper, he comes up massive, finds the rotation both down the vent and in through secret. Death's now under so much pressure, gets himself a double frag with that MP9, but he's still pinned in the corner, but the time's becoming an issue and the bomb's dropped. That's it, over and done with, Mike.
Ooh, that was a magic trick. They pulled that out of the hat. Death's just going to die, but that's A-okay. Chopper now on 4 HP. They'd love to take that rifle out of his hands. It's not to be, so at least there's something to work with here into this next round for Spirit. But no loss bonus, of course, means that they can't just take the easy eco and then be done with it. They've got to figure out whether they want to go ahead and force up into this one or whether they're going to take the bitter pill. Looks like it's going to be a deco outside of that 1 AK, so they should be relatively all right here. But that's a big round to pick up for the Movistars. They really do just slow down any potential momentum Spirit can get. And on a side like the T side of Nuke, when you just can't take those easy rounds, those rounds where you should have an advantage, it can really start to spiral out of control momentum-wise very quickly. So once again, timid outside control. This time, though, Chopper with the lone AK gets some action, gets himself a nice shot and an opening frag. And now Alex down. This may change the complexion of the round, but Team Spirit, once again, is not going to press the fight outside. They will fall back. So this is, so far, a pretty common habit. They sort of poke and prod outer, see if they can get a pick, and then they decide what they're going to do off the back.
Yeah, and Chopper looking good so far, which is something that you do want to see. The fact, of course, that in those previous rounds, even though Movistar Riders have taken them, they have been relatively close. So you can see the economy has been kept quite modest onto everyone apart from Alex, who's already gone down. But I think the movement towards ramp now. Soaker, back to B corner, able to find 2. They had a bit of a stack as well with Mixwell, been able to rotate in from Hell, and of course Death's already playing towards the ramp anyway. So a very easy hold does come true in the end. Only that one frag being found off the back of the AK. I mean, it's not terrible. The reinvestment still has to come true onto a bit of utility, but Movistar Riders, they have been able to build up a small bit of money, at least off the back of that previous round.
Now here's the one difference coming into this. Itis Balance has an AWP, and is the lone AWP on the server, so once again, it seems like they're going to be trying to work a pick outer, but this time they've got the big green gun to do so. So a little bit of action going through here. Coldie's on high on the silo as well, which I don't think we've seen yet from the Spirit side. And we're going to see a Movistar, they appear like they're adjusting to this. They're getting into much more conservative holds outer. You see Alex all the way back in the big garage, just waiting to see if someone's going to try and wrap in a mini. So it doesn't seem like they want to take this fight in the slightest. And the smokes do come down for that exact mini wrap if they want it. The smoke for garage going to completely obscure vision for Alex. He's got to now reposition to try and get back into the action. He hears Coldie drop. Should have the information that somebody's potentially past this, but they are going to go ahead and try and dig out his position. He's good for the first, avoids the flashbang, and a second one comes through. That's the bomb drop for him as well. Softic just gifting him the C4. So now this is a disaster scenario for Spirit.
Yeah, I didn't know it was Alex's birthday because that is a massive present. They may as well have gift wrapped it in all honesty. Oh, and perfect push from Deaths as well. Catching Chopper off in the lobby area. Eventually, Itis Balance does manage to return one on that op, but there's a second player in that exact position playing around the smoke, and it doesn't really seem like he's being too cautious of it. They're still taking their time to go and retrieve that bomb, and in the meantime, of course, Deaths is just continuing on with his flank. Alex is still there in the garage to deal with. He drops Coldie to make it the hat-trick already with that AUG. And there you go, the flank comes through from Deaths to go ahead and finish it off. 5-0 for Movistar Riders, keeping 3 players alive and not giving over a bomb plant as well. So meaning Itis Balance, after buying up the op in the previous round, even with the loss bonus being available, his buy isn't going to be great. You see a pause even coming true.
So that was, I mean, that was really nice play from Alex for sure, but really that was more of a misplay from Spirit than anything else. If they're going to send both players through the smoke, you got to send them both through the smoke at the exact same time so you can at least get the trade. Putting them through one by one and having the second player have the bomb, it's so foolish. What are you hoping you're going to catch him reloading? There's no real reason he would be. There's almost no scenario where that works out. It's a bold play, and it's just such a low percentage play that it's a really a bit of a head scratcher and just a way to give away a round.
Yeah, it's also not like they were so low on time that they couldn't maybe just wait the extra couple of seconds for the smoke to begin to fade away, wait for another teammate to be in a position to flash them in so that, as you said, they could actually go in together. And ideally, don't do so with the bomb. I mean, sometimes it's necessary if you're in the position to do so, but of course this time it did backfire, puts Team Spirit now down to just a pistol and Kevlar by. But at least early on, they have used that utility well. They've been able to cross over towards Secret, bring those pistols up close and personal as they would hope to, rather.
Yeah, this is interesting. Mopaz was actually down in the vent, recognized the situation, realized he didn't want to get overrun. So I think this is going to be another bomb plant, or a bomb plant conceded. It's been a little while. It's been few and far between, but Mixwell gets the action started early here with the AWP. He's looking for more. They haven't actually transitioned onto the site, and this strong presence out towards the ramp room is going to make it difficult. Molly's now down to force the issue. Mixwell can't hit the shots, but he's put them on notice to let them know that he is back here. Seems like now they want to make the play up the ramp, but they've lost their player in the outer yard. Mopaz to escape, and they will move into that upper site. They're dropping bodies. Soaker from the heaven, still playing oversight on the site. And Alex drops the last frag as well. So 6-0, and Movistar for a while now have just looked so clean. They prevent another bomb plant. They don't really give Spirit any toehold into the round. They're just really blanking them out of the sights and out of any chance at success.
I'm just going to be straight up here. I'm a little bit worried because Spirit aren't looking too much better than they were yesterday. We've seen them, of course, fall on their map choice pretty convincingly up against Vitality. I mean, Vitality are definitely a team that are on another level, but they went down 16-6 on Mirage, which was a map we expected them to do well on. And again, today, they come through with the choice of Nuke. It's a map that's okay for Movistar Riders. I mean, they put up a decent fight yesterday against Sprout, but it's not amazing for them statistically and just in the past in general and with recent times. I think they've won maybe like 1/3 of their games on it, which is okay. I mean, it's not terrible. But it's just not how you want things to start. And there we go. Once again, the advantage early on going in favor for Movistar Riders. Mixwell pushing aggressive on ramp, able to take down Coldy and allowed to fall back off easily with no chance of a trade coming through from Team Spirit.
Look at Soker's position as well. He's all the way pushed out the hut. He's ready to swing whenever. He's just waiting to see if somebody's going to test him, if someone's going to give him an opportunity. With a bunch of players tucked in towards Squeaky, that opportunity may come. It just there's so much information as well. Q off his team. Lopez gets 2. Now the late push from the hut is going to be Soker catching a frag, and this is just such a wash of a round. Barely any damage even done. Mopaz coming away with 3 kills and just a tiny bit of damage taken in turn. It's a 7-0, and this is frankly just looking like an utter disaster for Spirit. They don't seem like they have any idea of what they want to do, and when you're not prepared for a T-side on Nuke, there's just nothing to fix it. I mean, their only plan at this point seems to be that kind of soft, limp working of the pick outer or the smokes down Secret. When they get caught in lobby, it just doesn't work out. They really haven't been able to find any momentum. They haven't been able to take any decisive action. And so they're sort of allowing Movistar to dictate the rounds. And they don't have a response.
And the issue with that default that you're talking about is when they're going outside to go towards Secret or just work the outside area in general, it's not really working for them. Sure, we've seen them actually get down into Secret itself, but we've seen the rotations come through very quickly from Movistar Riders. They've been setting up well, and if I recall correctly, we haven't even seen any bomb plants going down, maybe just the one. They definitely got the one on pistol, of course. But it's just not looking great for Team Spirit right now. They've invested into this one. Idis Balance being the only player who does keep money, which is understandable. But Chopper on the CZ goes ahead and actually opens things up over towards Ramp Room.
Now this gets interesting. A pick, an upgraded gun. Mixwell, though, sticking around from the decon room now. He just wants to do some damage, and that smoke does cover him off. It almost looked like it was just going to be a little bit wide, which was, of course, a disaster. He's trying to play geometry, though. He's just looking to see the pick. He heard the plant attempt. It's not going to be successful as of yet. Dropping the molly to make it even more uncomfortable. They will get it down in time. Mixwell just a little bit too late on that. But there's bodies here for the retake. This is going to get messy indeed. Alex has already found one. He's looking for more. But Young getting a quick kill makes it a little bit more possible. Now it's all on Mixwell. And despite the fact that they've got amazing money, it's a 1v3. He's got the offer. Consideration of the save had to be there. Chopper doesn't give him a chance to think about it.
Yeah, it would have been nice to carry that over, because then he could have dropped the Soaker, who, of course, is running a little bit low on money. He'll still take a drop from someone else, but Mixwell would have been the one sitting with the prettiest economy at that point if he had a stead alive. But Op comes back into play, still has plenty of money in the bank. A bit more should go on, maybe a bit of utility. And overall, Movistar Riders still have a decent amount of money. If they were to lose this round, though, then we would see a couple of players looking at Nico in the following, being Mopos and Alex. So there's an opportunity here for Team Spirit. If they can keep this round up, they can bring it back, but it's just not happening. Oh my god, that was ridiculously quick. I can see the cam right now of Mike, and he's just gone ahead and face planted.
The thing here
Not
is,
face palmed, rather.
yeah, no, my face went straight down to the desk. It was so predictable, right? Because what you saw last round was, okay, Team Spirit had success towards ramp, right? They got the pick towards ramp, that opened up the round, then they could have
Yeah.
it. So they're like, all right, let's hit ramp again. It worked, except this time Mixwell's there with the op in addition to the rifle player. So they just get completely locked out in towards Trophy and Radio. They get shut down. The fight gets brought to them. And that's the thing. You've got to have some depth to your strat book here on Nuke. And if you're just going for, okay, that worked, let's try it again, you're going to get battered. So they try and go for the momentum play once more, and they just hit a wall. Instant response. They'll have AKs back up. He's a little bit limited. And once again, you're seeing them just kind of bunched up in. They're going to make a play through the squeaky door. That's a big tick to find as well. And a second. Coldie with two big, quick frags entry onto the upper site. Now they are going to be able to, at the very least, get that bomb down as it makes the transition. With smokes down and damage done. And the economy still pretty good for Movistar. It still might just be a save right off the bat.
Yeah, I'd prefer if they went for the save, in all honesty. The chances of them picking up this 3-on-5 retake, I mean, not too high. Maybe if they were given a pick early on, if someone tried to get aggressive from Team Spirit, they took one down, maybe you could have a bit of an idea why they would go for it. But as you can see, not really going to risk it. Going to carry over these weapons. Maybe some drops will come in. I think Mopos and Soaker should be okay to buy for themselves. So it's really more so about keeping that money and not throwing away the weapons when you don't really need to.
So a little bit of fight here. 5 players alive as well for Spirit. This is nice. I mean, you really, if you're Spirit, your magic number is 5, right? You want to get 5 rounds on this half.
Yeah.
5 not surviving though.
Yeah, no, that was unfortunate there. I honestly thought that maybe they had a chance to take down some Movistar Riders players, but of course, trying to actually hunt down those frags just wasn't worthwhile for Team Spirit right there. Quite fortunate that they actually only lost 1 player. If they'd even gone down 2, then they would have been in a position where their economy right now would have been looking quite weak after those drops came in. And even with that, it's still not looking great, of course. If they were to lose this one, I mean, they would still be able to buy because they have most of that loss bonus going.
Yeah, I think
But
they'll be all right.
ideally, they don't want to be getting kicked down a little bit. You know, they want to make sure that they can get those ops out every time they need them for Idis Balin. Although he's been quite quiet so far.
So 5 AKs, we got a pause coming through here. Just a little bit of a tempo breaker, a little bit of a calm down moment, presumably for, well, it might have been for either side, really. Movistar really trying to put the hurt on, twist the screws on Team Spirit and make sure they can choke out as much of this first half as possible, because this is, again, Team Spirit's map pick, which is interesting because they have not had a lot of historic success on this map. Recent success, maybe, but historic, not so much. And it was a bold choice, considering this tends to be a decently strong map for the Movistars. Still, really risky buy, or risky pick, and now we're gonna see what they can do. Once again, it's a soft outer presence. They're up on the red box. They don't really want to make a go of it yet, and no one's really exposed from the Movistar side. You can see how conservatively Alex is playing it, just a pixel angle out the locker room, and Mixwell trying to work his way up secret steps. So they're just gonna leave Coldie here. They're gonna withdraw back towards the lobby. It seems like they're gonna bunch up once more and maybe go for a late ramp hit. Chopper's in position to guarantee this. It would just be Deaths to take the brunt of the assault, though he could get some quick support from Hell. Let's see, where do they go?
It looks like they do kind of want to focus on towards that A-bomb side perhaps eventually. With Coldie being on outside as well, he has the ability to wrap around, but never mind, actually going to shift it over towards Ram. Death's willing to give it up, just falls back off. They Molotov Hell so that no one's actually able to rotate in and try and give some assistance. So Alex just instantly falling back off. Issue is now for Team Spirit. They only have 30 seconds to make a move. But look at this from Coldie. A great position to go ahead and cut off that rotation from outside. And I think with that, they probably are going to go ahead and bounce, bringing it back towards A, actually. Sotvik able to go ahead and drop Soaker above that A bomb site. And with the rotation actually having already come through from Mixwell and Deaths, this round is pretty much over now.
And this is interesting. They've found an exploitable weakness here for Team Spirit. That A defense has melted like paper in the rain for 2 consecutive rounds now. Coldie with a big opener in this one in the outer yard. There's good response. If he'd gone down likely this round, all falls apart. But being able to swing from mini and then have the players come out on towards the site, it's just a tough situation for Soaker to be in up on the rafters. And they've started hard checking his position as well. So maybe time for a little bit of an adjustment there. So it's going to be a third round for Spirit, and they do seem like they're going to keep 5 alive once more. So they've got this lifeline now. They've got this cash buildup as well to work with to try and eke out a few more rounds in this half. And Movistar, they need to adjust.
Yeah, they adjusted pretty well earlier on in fairness when they did go for that ramp progression after it being exploited, but as you said now, it seems to be that A-bomb site that has been the issue for these past couple of rounds. Able to reinvest quite easily here, all the weapons going to come out, no issue in terms of the utility. Mixwell, of course, still on that AWP with a lot of money actually left in the bank. He's the one that's really able to actually pull out another buy if it was needed, but the rest of them in a little bit of a tricky position. So Team Spirit now, if they pick up this round, if they're able to go ahead and put Movistar Riders down onto an eco, then as you said, they'll be coming up towards that number that they'd be looking for, at least 5 on that T side. A great recovery as well after how dire it was looking earlier on rather. It's a very beautiful
pop up on
AK.
the red box. Oh, that's a missed shot from Mixwell. I was going to say this will be an easy pick. That's actually uncharacteristic from Mixwell. That's really a bit of a problem for them. Alex is now stuck down in towards Secret and is going to be players headed his direction. He's got to back off. Certainly hears them coming. He does have an incendiary to slow this as well. There are now 4 players bunched into the Secret steps. Reinforcements coming in, or at least they can if they choose to. Alex dunks a nade onto Coldy, make it a little more difficult for him, but he's holding a flash in hand right as they come around the corner. He's got to slip away. He's got support from Deaths, and Mixwell's now in position with the op to start to find some frags. That flank has been bit off. There's going to be a bit of a massacre here. One more player in the control room has to get more than one. Deaths can't quite do it. The body's now dropping. It's all going to come down towards the lower site. Molly's in. HE's as well. Maxwell's position is smoked off, but he's got the other side of the ramp to play with if he wants to. Actually had the chance to go through. Now he's out again, finding one. Bomb will be planted, but a man advantage going into the retake. Should be relatively comfortable from the Movistar side.
Yeah, of course, both of those Team Spirit players not looking healthy either. Both down to roughly half HP. The bomb are slowly ticking away now, though. There is a bit of utility left in play, including those 2 smokes. One going to be tossed down towards that single door to actually block off the vision of Coldy. Does still have the door open, though, but wants to push forward, trying to go ahead and force the issue, and it's understandable in the position that they're in, able to find one. But in the meantime, of course, Mopo's dropped Sunday Young, and now it gets a little bit more difficult, pinned in towards that single door, but the bomb, it's ticking away. Coldy needs to be careful, gets the first. The op returns it, and time is running low, but I think there is just about enough.
Just enough. Whew. Squeaker of a round there. Squeaker of a round for Mixwell. He winds up with 3 kills and the defuse, and that's right when they needed it. They've done a good job of keeping that economy healthy, saving when they needed to string these rounds together, but now they are going to be comfortable to reinvest.
Oh.
Spirit, meanwhile, they're going to go right back into it with a double op on T side, which is
Interesting.
something you see every day.
It's interesting, yeah, no. Especially not on Nuke. I mean, every now and again you might see it on a map like Dust too, but Nuke's a strange one. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. They've been struggling a little bit. Maybe this is a change that they need. One up on top of the silo, of course. You have Idis Balance then working towards outside itself. And they will be, of course, finding some competition up against Mixwell, who's positioned back towards Garage, just playing over that blue box, of course, and spots the head of Idis Balance. This is going to be dangerous, and he doesn't miss it this time around.
Oh, this is so tough. Oh, it's Sometime Young might just swing this. So dangerous, playing around with that off angle, flirting with disaster when you slide into the crosshairs of Mr. Mixwell. There's going to be a gap in that smoke as well. Alex can just exploit it. You can see he's lasered right onto it. I think Sometime Young's realized it. He's been spotted. The spam's coming through. He survives, finding the timing at least to slip out. Now he's just going to tuck himself into Secret. That nade may find him as well. He's so low, 50 HP. He's got to deal with this. So a man down, 1 player on half health. Now it seems like the smokes are going towards upper, and they're going to go ahead and just hit. I say that they slow down, though, of course.
Yeah, well, they can't slow down for too long. You're definitely correct that they need to go forward quite soon. As they don't really do so, it seems like they are going to be picked off one by one. Mixwell on the up takes down Coldy. We've seen Alex chiming in as well. Takes it all on the Sotfik and Chopper. They push out through the door. 1-for-1 trade. Not really been enough in this position, but Sotfik may still be able to find that bomb plant. Wants the opportunity to win it though, so we'll go ahead and drop Mixwell on that rotation. Finally making his way down onto B, and is probably just going to straight stick this bomb. Oh,
Sotfik, nice shot. nearly gets the second as well. Had the right idea. Alex will put him down. So that was a nice little attempted clutch. And at least he gets the plant out of this, which should be enough for them to get a buyout in the next, I think. It's going to be a little hairy. I think one player might be on an SMG when all is said and done, depending on whether they want to invest into AWPs or not.
Yeah, no,
Well, it's actually pretty decent.
Sotfik could drop over the op as well to Ida's balance and take an AK in return. And then Chopper, although if he does want to go for the AK, he'll be the one that's low on utility. But it's pretty solid, all things considered. But yeah, as you were saying, that was actually really well played there in the clutch from Sotfik, being able to just, as he was down on that B-bomb site, do well to actually isolate those 1v1 fights. Unfortunately, though, sometimes you just don't actually win them.
So now double digits. Anything more is just kind of the cherry on top. Mopa's now playing with the XM, which we do love to see on Nuke. It's kind of the classic Hut play. Typically, players will play on top of Hut with a shoddy. He's actually going to go into it. Make it a little bit more adventurous. And Chopper is kind of checking. That's something that Mixwell has done quite a few rounds now, getting aggressive with the op up through ramp and pushing. And this time, Chopper checks him at the gate. So that's a big first pick to find, of course. Mixwell, an impact player for this side. And he's taking him out of the running. Nice start for Team Spirit here to try and get towards 5 rounds.
Yeah, and another important thing is the fact that Mixwell, a lot of that impact that he's had has been allowing for them to find map control here on the CT side. So once they don't have it, it certainly becomes a little bit more difficult. Spirit, though, just going to go towards this A-bomb site. Sotfik gets one. A little bit surprised by Mopos, who was in the same position, ready with the auto shotgun, but for the moment it is still that man advantage. But Spirit, no longer the case, though. Mopos comes in with the AK, dropping Chopper, and now it can get a little bit dangerous.
A little bit, but this is going to be tough. Deaths from on high. He gets one, no more. He is silent, so it is going to be a 4th round for Spirit, and they do keep enough alive that they'll be able to get a buyout for this next one. Chop them around. No, well, they could get a glass cannon off. I don't think they're going to. I think it's going to be full AKs available. So no AWP, but the money is finally broken for Movistar. I think this is the first time this half we've seen them have to eco.
Yeah,
so
and even in the,
not a bad run.
Yeah, even then, I think the weakest buy we had seen previously was maybe like one player on a weaker weapon, if I remember correctly. So yeah, this is the best opportunity we've seen for Team Spirit to pick up a round a little bit easier than normally. And of course, with it being the final round of the half, if they can take it, bringing themselves up to that 5-round mark, as you said, it's definitely a position that they can recover from heading onto that CT side. Although the pistol, of course, will still be quite important. No kit either from Movistar Riders. That could be an issue. Utility-wise, they do have a little bit to actually use. No defuse kit though, and considering Team Spirit these past few rounds have been quite successful at getting that bomb down, something to definitely worry about.
Alright, so a little bit of an announcement. That's a confirmation as well for Spirit, who may have just lost a little bit of track on where the economy was over these last few rounds. I mean, losing that many in a row, you're sort of like, alright, when does the bank end? But that's confirmation that at least Alex has pistols in his hand, and if you're playing with a pistol outside, that's a pretty good indicator that you're probably playing with a pistol everywhere. Mixwell gonna get aggressive. This time Alex does get a frag, but there's no more to it. The numbers, they do stack up, and Soaker tucked into the hut. He's gonna try and keep going. Chopper's just watching for exactly this play. Though Deaths has gotten one with the deagle elsewhere. They're trading this in kind for Spirit. And that's all that really matters. You don't need to worry about the economy here. It's just a matter of eking out these last few frags. Nice swing from Mopaz, but it's only good for one. That leaves it all to Deaths, who has, to be fair, retrieved an AK. Now in the 1v2 clutch. Bomb being planted. Molly down to limit the potential options he could come through. He's taking his first fight with Idis Balance, and Idis Balance is willing to give it to him. There's the shot. Nicely done. It's down to the 1v1. And he can get the clutch, but Sotfik is elevated. He's not going to be able to survive, though. Deaths wins it out. 11th round for Movistar. They have it. Strong first half on their opponent's map pick as they will move into their own T side, and only 5 rounds needed to start this series off with a 1 in the win column.
Yeah, spectacular clutch there from Deaths, and a little bit, I would say, poorly played from the remaining players there over on Team Spirit. They certainly could have been together a little bit more, especially with the fact that Ida's balance was so low on HP, down at 30, I believe. So the fact that he was in a position where once he went down, there wasn't a chance for the straight-up trade. It was just a bit more complicated than it needed to be. But, I mean, 4 on the T side, it's certainly not where Team Spirit were looking for, and with this being their map choice, it's a little bit disappointing. But there's definitely still a chance that they can pull this one back. It's not over quite yet.
For sure. I mean, this is new. Famous of the ridiculous CT side. It'll just be interesting to see what they have. I think one of my main issues with the way that Spirit has played this so far is they just looked very limp in the beginning of their T side. It didn't look like they had a great plan going into it, right? And considering what rides on this series, folks, reminder, the team that wins this will have a chance at the ESL Pro League at the relegation tournament. The team that loses this, they're just going with the cash prize. They're not going to the land of Dallas. They're not having a shot at relegation. So it is a pretty big deal to take the W here. The fact that they just didn't seem to have a solid plan for the T side off the back of it is troubling. Because if you don't have that preparation, if you don't have that coordination for the CT side as well, it's going to be much tougher than it should be.
Yeah, I agree. It felt like, as you said, they just didn't have a plan. It was like they didn't really understand exactly how their opponents were playing, and it took quite a while to actually feel them out, I suppose, before they could go ahead and find themselves a comfortable way to go ahead and approach those rounds. By the time they'd done it, of course, a little bit too late for, as we said, not the rounds that they were looking for, but it's going to be interesting heading into the second half. I want to see if that form is going to be kept up by Mixwell over on the T side with the op, if he's going to be just as impactful with those opening frags to give them the map control to work with. If he is still on point with that op, of course, I certainly think it is going to be a little bit of a struggle for Team Spirit.
So let's see, what are we waiting on at this point? No one's dropped out of the server, I don't believe, so maybe just a little bit of a break here. Someone's got to run to the bathroom.
There we go.
Quick,
Once the current scars pops up, it means we're ready to go.
So here we are. Pistols out. And a lot's going to ride on this. Team Spirit would very much like to pick up this pistol and get themselves started out on a good note. They had a really strong start to the T-side pistol, and then they just kind of got annihilated from a really nice play out from Alex. So we'll see if they can do much the same on their own side, if they can start out strong and maybe be escorted all the way through to the finish this time. They're certainly going to be doing so. No utility, no kit either. So they're just going to take the first fight full armor and hope that they come out on top.
Yeah, it's just all about the brute force right now for Team Spirit, and you can see that's definitely the case. Charging straight through that A main smoke. Young just playing around and actually able to find a quick headshot alongside some damage. They do a little Sotvic though in the meantime, but eventually the exchanges once again do begin to go in their favor. So not looking bad at all here for Team Spirit. Mopos is the last man standing. Doesn't have Kevlar, but he has dropped it to the 1v2 now. Main issue being that bomb is out quite in the open, so not going to be an easy one to retrieve. As I said, that though picks up a smoke, so that's quite handy.
A little bit of cover here to work with. They're approaching, though. They're taking the fight. They don't want to play this patient. They are going to swing in unison around the edge of the smoke, and that's perfectly done to limit the options Mopons could have. They recognize that if he manages to steal away that bomb and slip down towards lower, he completely redefines the fight. He changes up the circumstances and makes it much riskier for them in the 2v1. So they go ahead, they neutralize it, they avoid any potential disaster, and it is going to be a second round force buy here for Movistar. It didn't seem like they were going to do it for a moment, but Mopons will be the only one saving up. As they say that, he invests late just to ruin what I was saying. And now they've got a fair amount of utility to try and get a bomb plant out of this to try and maybe get in towards lower. You might see the secret smokes here, but early on at least, they're pretty spread.
Yeah, this is it's a risky buy, high risk, high reward. I mean, with the lead that they have, they certainly could have afforded to just go ahead and take the eco and buy in the next round, because it's not too big of a deal giving away that one more round. But it's just them wanting to put a stop to Team Spirit before they can find any sort of momentum here on the CT side. And it is a relatively strong buy, as you said. They have the utility to back it up. That's allowed for them already to get a good bit of map control. As a couple of players feel like they make their way down the secret. The issue is up against that auto shotgun. It's not going to be an easy fight at all. Young taking himself a couple of headshots. The ramp push as well, so far not being too successful. Soaker damage down low and eventually finished off. Dets, he's been playing extremely well and manages to do it with the CZ. In the meantime, though, Mopos, he should get this bomb plant down, and that's a mini victory right there from Movistar. I mean, I don't think they're going to win this round, but that's something they can certainly be happy with.
That's really all he wanted. And that was just a sleight of hand play, right? He recognizes that this lower hit is disintegrating, that it's really not going to work out once they lose the two players down secret to the XM. That's like, all right, we'll continue to hit ramp, make it look like we're going for this lower hit. You slide up top, get this bomb plant, just get out of there. That's all that matters. So they do get it. They're going to have a fair amount of money coming through. And Jets actually does manage to sneak a FAMAS out as well to give them something to play around in this round. So it'll be, again, pistol armor upgrade. Jets just managing to save that rifle, though, really could give them a potential advantage coming into this, especially considering they've got two SMGs on the other side. Where do they put this FAMAS for maximum impact?
I think towards inside. Sure, it's a weapon that has a bit longer range capability than those pistols, but I don't think it's really going to be working too well on outside when you have the chance of going up against the M4 and the AUGs, of course. So maybe trying to work it in towards ramp, let those pistols actually go first to create the space, or as you can see, they are going to take it outside, but they are going to also smoke it off. They don't want to try and specifically just challenge with it. Let those pistols go forward. The FAMAS in the background being the one that's trying to actually pick off those frags. Pistols are doing their best as well. Bit unfortunate there though. Sotfik able to spam through, gets one. It's hard to not leave a tiny gap, of course, in the smoke, and it has cost them now 2 players as the bomb even goes down and delays things, a bit of damage towards Mixwell, and this investment so far from Movistar not working out too well.
Oh, they try and go back. They're trying to recover something, but Sotfik is just massacring them one by one. Finally, Mixwell will get an answer, but it's only one, and he is low, so he's just going to stick to taking the fight. 4K for Sotfik in the round, farmed up all with the SMG as well, so you can see he's already out to 8,200. That's going to be excellent for them moving forward when they're trying to get the ops out, and that's exactly what he's done. He's picked up the AWP, very content to play with the MP9 himself. As I say that, he swaps it for Coldy. So it does have a rifle. It's going to be a very comfortable setup here. Only the one SMG is a bit of an Achilles heel, but plenty of utility to hold back and force the issue against the Movistar Riders. And the op has come out for Mixwell, but he's got to have some early impact here.
Yeah, heading over towards door, that was the position yesterday that he did actually find most of his success from, if I recall correctly, up against Sprout, able to get those picks in towards main. Was actually quite consistent with it. Unfortunately, this time though, I think Teamspear recognized that this was an area yesterday that was an issue for Sprout, so they don't want to give those away. Instead, it's towards Ramper. Chopper goes down. The trade does at least come back from Sotfik, but he takes some damage, and also Sumda Young being dropped to 38 HP. So a 4-on-4 is certainly something that Movistar Riders are happy with.
Now they've got control of the ramp room as well. They can fall into this. You're seeing a reaction, a little bit of a turtle up, but it is going to be just Sotfik who's really going to hold them back once they start to move in towards lower. So this is really going to come down to timing for him as he checks the right way at the right time. And he's a little bit afraid somebody could be sneaking down secret. There's nobody there. That's just a paper tiger. But it's enough to distract his focus and mean that he's not really going to be able to get this clothesline shot as they come through. So he's just crouched on the stairs in towards the control room. The take is coming through towards lower. He's pressing the issue now, taking the fight. Does a lot of damage onto Alex. It's not quite a frag, though. Now Molly's going to force him into the situation. Soker just wants to go for it. The spam is good, but the bomb plant is as well. Man advantage, though. Sotfik staying alive is making a nuisance of himself and making this retake a lot easier for his comrades.
Yeah, spam deaths down through the smoke and the door right there doing a lot of damage, of course. Making things, as you said, so much easier for the remainder of his team on this retake. We're going to see Mixwell going down. That leaves only Alex and Deaths, both players barely hanging on to life at this point. It's all up to Alex in that 1v4. And of course, Sotfik comes in and just goes ahead and cleans it up. That's a quick ace indeed, yeah. Perfect hold down towards that ramp room. He said it was going to be a little bit of an issue because he wasn't too sure if he could be flanked out. But he was still able to get it done. Just bided his time, didn't really force the kills, but just took what he could and allowed for the bomb to go down and worked with his teammates. Did he get the op back there? No, he didn't, I don't think.
Oh, he dropped his rifle too.
That is very awkward. Yeah, no, he had nothing. That's what I meant. He dropped his rifle initially for the op and then was trying to pick up the AK up on the balcony, I believe it was.
I think it was actually the other way around. He had an op in hand and wanted, I think it was an AK. It might have actually been an M4.
Yeah, no, he had an op initially in his hands, but I think he went from the M4 to the op and then wanted to go from the op to the AK.
Okay.
And then ended with nothing because he wasn't able to get the
cards.
AK. Yeah.
Unfortunate. It is going to be a quick take towards ramp once more, but Chopper's just falling back, and this time Idisbound sticks around to have some frags and make it a double. He's looking for one more as well, and there is a player up top, Alex, who's still got to transition lower to get out here. So they've really slowed this defense down. Now that allows Sumda Young to get back into position, and this is turning into a massacre. They've been caught out. They've got nothing to work with here. This is just Movistar with Alex and Deaths and all the money drained out of the bank and no real room to rumble on towards the site.
Not looking great here for Movistar at all. Only Alex and Deaths remaining. I don't know where they're really going to be able to take this one. The issue is there's still a minute on the clock also, so if they want to try and save, that's going to be a bit of an ordeal. There's enough money in the bank for Team Spirit that if they want to, they can maybe try and give it a little bit of a hunt. But here we go. Deaths and Alex now going to try and work their way in towards hell. Maybe try and creep up into heaven, see if they can catch a player off guard on that A-bomb site and give themselves a bit of a chance. But of course, as that smoke goes down, that also gives away the general area that they're currently located towards. So we will see Team Spirit kind of shifting that hold a little bit and shifting their attention towards hell.
So the economic issue of Sotfik's potential here last round kind of just washed off here by keeping 5 alive. Now Alex and Deaths have been spotted out. They've only got 20 seconds, so this round is already pretty much more, but they are going to try and do for the wrap for upper, and Sotfik dropping might make this a little bit more viable. They got to move now, though. 12 seconds, still a player up in the rafters. Coldie should have this, and I just bounce really does put the nail in the coffin. So no time. Unfortunate to die before that clock does expire. It's just going to be a bit of a wash of a round. Pistol armor potentially coming out here for the Movistars, but Team Spirit have now brought this back to a 9-11 half, going 5 rounds in a row on their CT side, looking very poised to maybe bring us to a tight scoreline.
They at least got a couple of frags in the end, but as we said, the economy already building up a bit for Team Spirit. That's not too big of a deal, and obviously Movistar Riders not getting that bomb down. They don't have enough money to actually get a buy into this round. Pause comes true, they're probably just going to go ahead and buy maybe pistols, Kevlar, and utility once again. Prioritize getting that bomb down and looking for a few frags, but right now Team Spirit, they're showing us what they're capable of, looking much better here on the CT side so far. As you said, picking up these last 5 rounds in a row and looking quite dominant in doing so as well. One thing also is that everyone over on that Team Spirit side is contributing. There's no one who's having to carry more weight than necessary.
Yeah, really, apart from that one miraculous round for Sotfik with the 5K, it's just been very even across the board, very level-headed, which is always great to see when a team is firing on all cylinders, but no one's really the weak link or the overperformer. So now, bit of a turtle approach. They're very conservative in their holds. Not a lot of presence shown towards outer. Just going to be Sotfik, who's holding from very long range, and he will not really find much, but it's just one player sent down the secret steps. They're expecting maybe more, as previously it's been the full presence that moves through when they do throw these secret smokes, but everybody's bunched up in towards the lobby, ready to pop out of the squeak door, and here that pop is going to come. Maybe.
Yeah, it should pretty soon. Alex, of course, getting a smoke ready over towards the site area, maybe to actually have to close in the distance. That is actually my bad. Something that you'll go for the event drop, which is actually where they do try and take it. The bomb, it does go ahead and just roll down those steps after he drops himself 3 quick frags, and eventually adds on with a 4th for himself. And maybe it's Sumda Young's chance to go ahead and get an ace out of this one right now. Alex, though, he's been lurking around in towards Hell. Was maybe trying to see if he can get the flank down from behind, and unfortunately he's the one that gets taken down from behind, or more so above, because it was Idis Balance who just goes ahead and finishes that round off. Double digits now for Team Spirit. 6 rounds in a row here on the CT side. Again, a round that they take extremely cleanly, and you can see that just adds tremendously to the bank now. This is going to be so difficult for Movistar Riders. They need to start picking it up very soon here on the T side, and ideally they need to be able to replicate those rounds back to back.
So we'll see if they've learned anything from their previous blunders, if they found sort of a gap that they can exploit. Maxwell's going to go aggressive outside with the AWP. He had a lot of luck here with the AWP on his own CT side. Now it's a little bit of a different story. And Sotfik, who we know is firing on all cylinders right now, is looking to contest. He's going to go ahead and fade back, though, and that might just favor the AWP if they do eventually decide to go for this fight. But still a lot of room to rumble. 20 on the clock, so much time to try and work this pick, and Team Spirit's just not really flinching. They've turtled back in. They've got no one really fighting for this outer yard, and they're content to just sort of wait and give it up.
Ooh, Mopo's looking tempted to try and make a play through that smoke in towards Huh, actually. That could be very dangerous. He's just going to be chilling in it for the moment, I suppose. There is, of course, Coldie playing up above, and if he goes a little bit further forward, his legs would be spotted, so needs to be careful. Just waiting to see if he can get a pick. Of course, now the time beginning to run down a little bit. Seems like Movistar Riders, after initially just kind of hanging back, are eventually going to begin to move forward. A bit of control towards outside is what they're looking for.
So this is just going to be Sotfik to hold on to this. Mopaz, though, finding a kill out of the hut. He was waiting. He was so patient, as he said. He eventually does make it work. And now that just sends them a little bit more helter-skelter. They're dropping a ton of utility, anticipating this upper hit, bringing a player up the vent. The problem is, as that's happened, as Sotfik has gone off of watching the outer angle, they've worked their way down the secret steps. Now he's spotted Mixwell, and he actually does get the kill, and the bomb dropped from Mixwell as well. What a misplay as they decide to readjust in through Mini. Still, Alex bringing back a frag and a follow-up as well. May make this more viable. Sotfik on high is doing so much damage. He's turned it into a 2v1 for Idis Balance. The bomb still has to be planted. That nade will likely do a ton of damage, but it may not matter since he's got the AWP anyway. You just got to start swatting some flies down below. Looking for rain and death from on high. It's a double peak, though. Nicely set up, and the Movistar Riders making split difference. Mopons with a 4K in the round to get a 12th on the board and prevent Spirit from bringing it tied up.
Yeah, retaining the lead for the moment and extending it just a small bit. Issue is they didn't actually live with many players. Of course, only 2 staying alive, so a good bit of reinvestment having to come through. And on the Team Spirit side, they're able to get that buy-in once again quite easily, although they're not left with a lot of money. So if they end up losing this one, they could be in a little bit of a troublesome position. Coldie and Idis Balance would struggle to get a buyout. The rest of them would be okay. But ideally now for Team Spirit, if they want to keep this comeback on, they take this round right now and continue on with what was, of course, a very dominant streak on the CT side so far.
Chomper spots one, but he's spooked. He's going to go ahead and drop the molly and fade back now, recognizing they could have control up forward. Death is certainly looking for it, and as that molly fades, there are 5 players grouped up just around here. He will completely avoid the smoke, and there's a big old gap in it. Mopaz going to tempt him. That was a risky peek. He's lucky to get out of it with minimal damage and his life intact. It's going to be Chomper fading back in towards the lower site. They've taken full control of the ramp room. The question is now, what do they do with it? Smoke to slow them. Reinforcements coming through from the Team Spirit side. They're hemmed in from hell, and Chopper to just keep fragging. Grabs 2. That's what he needed to do. Slowed him down and then did the damage that was necessary to get on towards the round. The bomb will be planted. And that's a big kill to find for Mixwell. Counts at 3-on-3 in the retake.
That's a good bit of damage onto Sunday Young. The nade, if he had it right-handed it might have been even better, but it doesn't matter. Still down to 4 HP. Coldie comes through to try and assist his teammate, who's of course still pinned behind that smoke. Flash goes out. They are going to try and begin to work forward now. The door being closed to attempt to at least isolate these fights so that Mixwell and Soaker wouldn't be able to work off each other. But as they don't really manage to get anything done, they are really forced into just going ahead and falling back off and saving over these weapons. Because as I said, the economy not looking amazing for Team Spirit. With these weapons being saved over, we will see them being able to buy up into another full investment. Definitely a decision that I do agree with. If they got one of those kills initially at the door, then I would say go for it. But it's understandable why they did just back off.
So now 13-10, it's kind of reminiscent of what Movistar had to do for a couple of rounds, where I think even in this situation it was a little more favorable. Those were 5v3s. They had money in reserve. But you want to be able to stretch the CT economy as far as possible. Keep those ops up, as you've been saying. Keep that utility as well to slow down your rushes here and your quick hits. So they are going to stay alive here. And speaking of the rushes, they just go straight out the squeaky towards a massacre between the HE and the M4 spray. 2 players are dropped in the entry towards event. And this quick play is a little bit unseated. So they are going to make their way down, but at what cost, Dean? At what cost?
The cost of the life of 2 people. Soaker and Deaths. The memorial. It is going to have to be to put out in the newspaper. They are still seemingly going to have a chance here to get one down. So that's a very small victory, at least. But unfortunately now it's only Mixwell who remains standing. He's going to be left in that 1v5. As I said, should have obviously landed, but he's not able to get anything done. I was going to say might get that first frag, but Sunday Young, I believe, jumping, goes ahead and takes him down. It's going to be 11-13 now. Team Spirit pulling around back, and most importantly, doing so with all 5 players alive. That's exactly what they need. Just to get themselves back on their feet and stable, of course.
Now, I don't think Movistar can justify taking off the aggression right now, right? They've got money in reserve. They can get full AKs up if they want them. Soaker can even find the off. Actually, Mixwell's just going to buy it up, so they will have very comfortable full AKs up. They're going to be bringing the pressure back. But as you said, all 5 surviving there is just like a nice breath for Team Spirit. It revitalizes the economy. It means they've at least got one in the tank, one cushion to play off of. And now, despite the fact that Movistar are inching towards that close, Team Spirit may just have the revitalization they need to tie this up and make this a really good game as we head down to 30. Movistar, though, if they take this round, they're going to be in great pole position to just close out the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's still good money for Team Spirit, but they definitely have the momentum at that point going in their favor, being up on 14. Oh, Mixwell! I think that was the second Ian scope that Idis Balance actually stepped into that angle, so a little bit unfortunate. And I think kind of fortunate in general that he didn't end up going down, that Idis Balance wasn't the one to get the shot off while the opportunity was actually given over. For now, though, still that 5-on-5, of course. There's a minute and 15 seconds remaining for Movistar Riders to actually make a move, and with that, it seems like they do want to try and at least attempt to get some map control towards outside. Mixwell, he's not afraid at all to just push forward. Not a single piece of utility actually being used, and Mixwell just drops Sotvik over towards the spawn.
Now let's get straight. Once again, Mopaz in the hut. He has been a nuisance here on both halves. This time he gets the first frag as well as Coldie tries to get aggressive. So now a double man advantage. This gets very awkward for Spirit. How do you compensate on a map like Nuke where you have to cover both levels and have such an eye on multiple spots to survive? It's going to be Chomper trying to get aggressive, thinking about it, and Not players nearby, but he is going to go ahead and say discretion is the better part of valor. Tuck himself in behind the back vent. I'm just waiting. Amali comes in to ruin his day. He will find one, a second as well. Heroic performance from Chopper, but it's just not quite enough as the rest of his team melts away in the same moment. It is a 14th round for Movistar. And now we're going to have another full buy for Spirit. Probably a little left in the tank as well once that one runs through, but we're coming up against it, Dean. We're coming up to the very end of Nuke. And reminder for anyone just tuning in now, this is Team Spirit's map pick. This is their choice. Next we head to Train, which is a very strong map for Movistar. This could all fall apart for Spirit in an instant.
Especially with the off of Mixwell finding success. If they head over to Train and he's able to keep up this performance, then I definitely will be extremely worried for Team Spirit. Coming off the back of such a difficult defeat yesterday as well. I mean, they're certainly looking improved today, but there is still issues that are arising, and just overall Movistar seem like the slightly stronger team. But of course, Team Spirit are able to full buy into this round once again, so it's not over quite yet. If they can pick this one up, if they can pull it back flawlessly from this point on the CT side, then they can certainly still take this win in regulation.
Mopaz has just been so excellent at being in the hut at the right time. Right, this is both sides really too, because he was getting aggressive here on the CT side as well. He's maybe not as flashy as some other players on his team, but I think he's had massive impact in terms of just controlling this area of the map and being an absolute nuisance. Knowing that anytime you're going to think about pushing hut or exposing yourself to hut, he could just be here waiting. You're seeing it now, late smoke in, they're just compensating exactly for this style of play, and he hasn't moved a muscle. He's a statue here just waiting to see if they're going to come through. Even a nade's not going to interrupt him in the slightest. He now drops on right onto Coldy. He's getting naded back, so it is going to be a little bit of control now being exerted towards Outer as they do just leave Mopaz in the lobby to be a nuisance. Sophic, though, I think maybe feeling this presence. Now they're wrapping around. He's going to find the first. Doesn't get the second, though, but massive damage. There's going to be Soaker to fall, and now a good hold inwards. And Team Spirit, they hang on. They get round number 12. They survive with 4 as well to keep that economy healthy, and they've triggered out an eco from the Movistar side.
They should still be able to upgrade onto some pistols, perhaps. So an opportunity for them to still get those frags in and keep the economy low for Team Spirit. But it was a great hold, of course, coming through from the CT side right there. It was, I thought it might have got a little bit awkward once they actually heard that rotation going down. Then, of course, Mopos was able to call that over, trying to make their way on towards A, but just a great hold through. Coldy even opens up in this round as the nade and the spam combine. A player will, I believe, still actually make his way down through vents, though. I believe it may have been Mopos. I'll go ahead and actually double check. Yeah, indeed, down towards that single door now. So in a great position to try and actually cut off these rotations. Of course, Chopper is the one that's on that B-bomb site already. They've gone ahead and apparently just allowed for full control of Secret to be given over.
So Movistar, they've moved the bomb down towards lower. They've got a chance here. If they get the bomb plan here, that's just going to reinforce into the next round, give them a lot to work with. But they're certainly not quite going to be content with that. They're looking for more. Mopaz is hearing a lot of information as players head up the ladder. And it is really just going to be Chopper to hold them off initially. Now he's got Itis Bounce for support, but Itis Bounce is sitting in a Molotov, sits in there to find the frag, and Chopper up on the balcony just knocking down players left, right, and center. Quick 3K for Chopper to make sure there's no chance at the bomb plant and no chance at the round for the Movistars. So now here we go. This is going to be the full investment for Movistars. If they win this, map point. If they lose it, that's likely the game.
Well, if they lose that, at the very least, it's map point for Team Spirit, because unless Movistar gets the bomb down, then it's going to be 15-14 before we see another buy actually coming out from them. So it's a very important round here, to say the least, for both of these teams. It's going to be interesting to see who can come out on top of it. Of course, Team Spirit, with it being their map choice, a lot of pressure on their shoulders. Movistar Riders, though, they were so close, so that's also a lot of pressure on their shoulders to go ahead and actually close this one out, even if it's been a bit of a rough T side. The door now being blown off, I believe, does give the vision to Itis balance. He's looking to see if he can open this up, wants to take that aggressive peek. But for the moment, not really being given anything. Mixwell is the closest player, and he's trying to work that off in towards the hut instead.
This is going to be Coldy once again. We've seen him in this position quite a bit. The difference now is you got Sundae Young on top of the hut, which we haven't seen as much of. There's usually been 2 players in towards the upper site. Now we've got 3, so it's perfectly red. Soaker's already out, though, and he's looking for this kill. Coldy's still somehow finding one, making a second as well with support from Sundae Young, and this is working out beautifully for them. It's all going to be Alex who finds the first, but he's burning alive, and he can't get out from the flames. It's a little too hot for him in the kitchen. And so it is going to be a 14th round. We are going the distance one way or another here, Dean. And it's looking like Team Spirit going to be the side to take map point.
Most likely. As I said, if that bomb didn't go down, as it did not, Movistar Riders are in a tough position where they can't fully buy into this round. So Pistols, again, probably going to come out with the Kevlar and a bit of utility, as they always do when they're put in this position. But Team Spirit, 15, likely to be found, confirming at the very least an overtime, and of course a real nice opportunity for them to go ahead and close this one out. After being down 11-4, of course, at halftime, it was looking a little bit dire for them. They had a very slow start on that T side, but warmed up, of course, now. And I mean, even with Train coming up next, sure, it's not an amazing map for Team Spirit, but if they can get the victory here and come off the momentum off the back of this comeback, rather, if they can carry that over, there's always a chance. And one important thing is Idis Balance warming up, Coldy as well, having a pretty solid performance, Chopper and Sotvik playing well, and we know, of course, Sunday Young, another player who also can step up and pull out those multi-frags quite consistently and be a consistent player in general.
So, fun fact, Dean, in the south of the city I live in, there was a massive refinery explosion this morning. A butane tank apparently went alight, and a mushroom cloud exploded hundreds of feet into the air, looking quite terrifying. The explosion was apparently felt like one state over. Shockwaves of it knocked art off the walls. So that would only be the second largest explosion on this at a plant in America if Movistar Riders do implode here and wind up giving this up.
I like that one, although it's pretty unfortunate that a massive explosion had to happen for you to be able to make that joke.
It's not ideal. No one was hurt, though. Surprising.
Okay, that's good. Still,
it happened like 4 o'clock in the morning. No one was there.
Okay, that's probably the best time for it to happen, if at all. Here we go. The push coming through. There is, of course, still Pistols in play for Movistar Riders. They've actually managed to go ahead and get those trades pretty successfully. The bomb yet to go down. One rifle at least being retrieved, though. The issue is still no Kevlar onto a couple of those players. I'd like to see Mixwell maybe trade that over to Alex, who does have that body armor to actually work with. But it seems like he's happy enough, confident enough to see if he can get this done instead. And Team Spirit now looking to try and work together on this retake from Ramp.
So unfortunate. They're all coming from the same angle, of course. This has to be perfect, and the shots aren't being hit here. Nobody's finding it. And so Team Spirit, despite a very good entry into the round for the Movistar side, despite it looking like maybe, just maybe, they'd be able to steal it away, Team Spirit stays cold, calm, and collected in the moment they do secure map point here on map 1 of this best-of-3 series to determine who's going to be third place and who's going to be headed to EPL relegation and the MDL Global Challenge in Dallas.
Of course, is a massive thing to participate in. Everyone here wanting to make it the Pro League. We already have Vitality and also a Sprout who made it through yesterday. As was said, 3 teams from EU making, I believe 4 from NA. I'm not sure if they've all qualified as of yet. I don't believe so.
So only 3 from NA get into EPL relegation, but 4 do make it to the Global Challenge.
Okay, that's what I've seen. And of course, there is the other regions as well. So it's a good land to partake in. You get to play against some international competition that you normally wouldn't be facing off against, and can certainly learn a lot from. See how other teams are playing, maybe take a couple aspects of their game and be like, okay, this could fit us well. A very crucial round right now for Movistar Riders. They started off quite slow. They've taken actually a bit of damage as well early on, with Mixwell being dropped to 51. A small bit towards Alex and Soker also. I mean, it may not look too important, but now for the AUG and the M4, both of those players basically don't have a helmet. And also Mopo's taken down to 83. I didn't even notice that.
So it's just a little bit more chip damage coming all the way around here. Everybody's just getting knocked down just a little bit from the Movistar side. And now it seems like the hit's going to come through. Mopa's just waiting to open this door, chuck his smoke, and get this going. They've got Soker making a lot of noise towards lower. He's drawing rotation. He's drawing a lot of focus. You can see Somna Young at the bottom of the vent. He's thinking about this, and now the hit is on. They are making their way through. But it seems like Mopaz is just a distraction on distraction. Is now Presence is coming through the rent. The problem is Sotvik is here. He's been here the whole time. I don't think Deaths has spotted him out. That's so much information. Sotvik gets 1, 2, make it 3. Actually, Chopper took the middle one there. But that's a disaster for Movistar. It has all been shut down by Spirit. They leave it to Soker, who's got to find the full ace to keep his team alive, and it just won't happen. So 16-14, Spirit complete the comeback. They make it happen. They win their own map pick of Nuke. And they are going to take us through to map number 2, which will be Train.
Yeah, it was extremely hard fought for, though, of course, but eventually picking up the win. A win, of course, is a win. And I'm just wondering if they're going to be able to actually carry over some of that performance towards Train. As we said, it's a map that we definitely do expect Movistar riders to be favored on.
Without a doubt. So that's going to be more of the action coming through, folks. If you've been enjoying it, don't go anywhere because we're just going to take a quick break here and get right back. If you've been enjoying this action as well, you should check out the promotion that Esea is running right now. You can find out more about it by typing !sale in the chat, pull up a command. Basically, there's a sale running right now to celebrate Counter-Strike's 20th anniversary. $20 for 3 months of Insider or $20 for 6 months of Premium, which is a pretty great deal if you want to play on a platform that these teams are playing on right now. If you want to up your game and maybe get to this level, you should check it out. So keep an eye on that. Check it out in the chat. We'll be right back in a flash. You're watching the ECA Mountain Dew League Season 31.